just like, let's just do this.
Let's do it. Let's do it, y'all. Hello, hello. It is Magic Monday. I am Liz, and I'm here with my good friend Adam Roa, speaker, coach, and conscious content creator, and also video influencer, I would add to that.
Oh, wow. Thank you. So the conscious content I'm creating winds up creating influence.
Yes, through video.
That's good.
So today we're going to be talking about some of Adam's successes, tips, tricks for you guys to kind of learn from someone who's already made it in the game. I would say you've made it. You've made it pretty big.
Wow. Really?
You've made it.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
I've gotten the check of approval from Liz.
That's right.
That's awesome.
He's definitely...
I can retire now.
You can.
I can.
You can think freely now. You have permission.
Okay.
Okay, so Adam just got back from your one-man show in Australia. Tell us a little bit about how did you get to a point where you're doing these spoken word shows where you are having this video influence? Like, if you can give us a little background, a little peek, if you will, into the window of Adam Roa's life.
Yeah, well, I have been a performer for most of my life. I've loved being on stage, and I've been an actor and that sort of thing. And one day I realized that all of my self-esteem, like all of it, was living and dying with the auditions and like whether I got the part or whether I didn't get the part. And I didn't like that, so I took a break from acting in the industry and got really clear on like what my message is. Like, what is it that I'm actually here to say? What is it that I'm here to do on this planet? And getting clarity around that and starting to walk that path. One day I was at this event, because I started going to all these events where people spoke about like conscious things and changing the world. And lo and behold, the last person to go was a spoken word artist. And he started doing spoken word. And the moment he started, I stood up and I was like, I can do that. I don't know how or why, but like I can totally do that. And just started writing poetry since then. And yeah, turned it into a show, and then toured that show in Australia internationally. I got back 4 days ago or something like that. So really recently, we did 4 cities in Australia.
So cool, congratulations. Okay, so I'm gonna actually link up the video that we were talking about today in the description box, or excuse me, this isn't YouTube, Liz, this is Facebook. I'm gonna link it up for you guys in the comments below once we get off this live broadcast here. But your most recent video has already gotten around almost 500,000 views, 7.4 thousand shares organically, you guys. This is organic shares. So that means you didn't pay a dime for any of that to be shared, which on the Facebook platform, you know, you can boost your posts, you can sponsor content to go to that level, but you didn't spend a dime on this. This is all organic shares. And I'm curious how else has video itself, like you have made some incredible storytelling pieces through digital media, using video, using audio, using your talents with poetry and acting and just really embodying a message or creating conscious content, if you will, and then putting it on a digital platform. That's one of the things that I see so many gifts come from you, Adam Roa, in that realm. So can you tell us more about how has video helped impact your business?
Wow. I feel like when you say these nice things and you're like a master of online video, it's like this weird thing. I'm like, really? Am I? I haven't had anyone say that to me that's been as masterful as you, I think, in this world. So thank you.
Well, you know what's interesting, Adam? I actually found you through online video.
Did you?
I did.
How?
I found you through Facebook. So I watched one of your videos.
I thought we were connected through...
No, and I was thinking about this on the way over here. I was like, yeah, I found you through the Facebook platform, and I watched 1 or 2 of your videos. I was like, who is this dude? What is he up to? And how do I become friends with him? And here we are today in the flesh. So
yep, now she's in my house.
That's one success story right there.
Hanging out. Yeah, and well, awesome. I'm really glad to hear that. You know, a lot of times with online video, we get so focused on the like view count and the share count and the comments and that sort of thing, that when it becomes tangible like this, where you're like, I found you through a video, or like your video caused me to take this action, like those tangible things really mean so much. So it's awesome to hear. And then the question itself, what was the question itself?
The question, to recap, is how has video helped you in your coaching practice with gaining influence in your spoken word artistry? How has video specifically helped you with that?
Well, I believe a foundational belief that I have is that art is arguably the most powerful tool that we have to shift consciousness on this planet at a really high level.
I would agree.
I think that art is biologically, we are just predisposed as human beings to receive art at an emotional level, which is how we actually can create new belief patterns without needing to go through kind of all the crap that the logical mind has us go through, and the obstacle course that is our brain. And so for that reason, I think video is the modern day painting. Like no disrespect to people who paint, but like if you have a painting, like I have a painting hanging up here that means a great deal to me. And
give you a little peek of it.
Yeah, it says
Can't really
worthy.
see it
It says worthy. It's the first piece of art that I ever commissioned, and it had everything, brought up all my worthiness. And thanks, Jordan. And so, but the thing is that like video now can go. My videos are seen, and I'm sure your videos are seen too, but like all over the world.
All over.
Russia, Israel, Australia, London, Tanzania, Africa. I have people, India, and my painting can't do that. Mm-hmm. And so video is this amazing, like intersection point of technology, today's technology, and art. And because of the power I feel that art has for helping me create the impact that I want to create on this world, I think video is like the thing currently today.
Oh, I would definitely agree with that. If you agree with that, go ahead and hit those likes and pop up some hearts on the screen. I'm digging all the little ha-ha-has, the little emojis.
Thank you, guys.
Emoticons.
Angry faces. Maybe that's a painter.
It's like a traditionalist, like,
yeah.
Oh, never put the paintbrush down. No, I mean, I super agree with that. So when it comes to your video specifically, one of the things that you're incredibly good at is you have mastered the art of storytelling. Is there a process behind that? Like, do you write storyboards? Do you have a vision of how your videos are going to look before you create them? Or does it kind of happen organically in the process of creating?
You know, it's a really great question. And I think it goes into this idea of mastery and muscle memory and like the unconscious mind. Because for me, I have spent at this point, probably 12 to 15 years studying acting. And acting is telling stories. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And so that means reading scenes, reading scripts, breaking down scenes and breaking down scripts. And then I transitioned into writing them. And then I transitioned into directing them. Mm-hmm. And so I've on one end, I've actually read books on story, like storytelling, script writing. I've read some of those books. And I think that just over time, inundating myself with so much story has allowed me to kind of naturally understand some of it. And I do understand that there are certain aspects to traditional storytelling. Like if you want to do a 3-act structure or a 5-act structure.
What does that mean? So like for someone like me who has not read those books, what does that mean? Can you kind of break down the scaffolding of what that looks like?
Yeah, so, you're going to have these things, you're going to put me on the spot and see like if I can actually remember all the details, because once you learn all the rules as well, because there's, I love the 5-act structure, but traditionally it's a 3-act structure, meaning you'll, for the most part, all movies can be broken down into 3 acts, and you'll have like things that go on like the hero's journey, mm-hmm. right?
I love it.
And you'll have things like an inciting incident, like the incident that happens that incites the eventual journey. And then you're going to have things like the all is lost moment. And the all is lost moment is that moment where it seems like it just cannot possibly go any worse. And that generally happens right before things turn around, right? And the reason why human beings love story so much is because it mirrors real life for us. Like so many people understand that right after their all is lost, like for me, like the darkest year of my life led to my awakening, what led to my like just changing everything around. Like people always ask me, even like looking around now, like we're in my home, which I love this home. I can see the ocean right now as we speak. And like this thing here, a year and a half ago, a year ago, I was homeless, essentially just traveling the world, like didn't have a set spot. And 6 months earlier than that, I was living essentially just paycheck to paycheck in my 1-bedroom apartment. Like within a 2-year-and-a-half, 2-year window, like, I moved into this place because I went all in on what I now share. The reason I'm so passionate about sharing it is because of how well it's worked in my own life. And it mirrors the story. It mirrors what people are like, oh my God, it was the all is lost moment. It was then everything came, and then like you just like persevered and perseverance and like really went on all in. And it mirrors the story, and it has that story arc. And I think that for a lot of people, what you're seeing in online video is they are just trying to teach a lesson that they have learned somewhere. They're regurgitating content. And if you can take that content first that you learned, apply it to your own life and find the story of your own life and share that out and see how that lesson that you learned actually applies to a real world example of your life, I think people connect to that so much more strongly.
Oh, so true, you guys. I could definitely see little elements of that also used in my own business, and what Sarah and I built with Super Sister Fitness. Like, we told all of our own stories. We learned that lesson, but we didn't just regurgitate and keep it surface level. We really dove deep and got real, raw, and vulnerable with it and put our personal experience out there. And it allowed people to connect on an emotional level, to get to know you as a human being, not just somebody on the screen who's a talking head, right? Like, you're a real human being, and through the breakdown comes the breakthrough, as we know.
Yes, and be very careful about associating the only way to have breakthrough with breakdown, because now you're calling in breakdown in order to get to the breakthrough. But yes, very commonly it is that way because of that surrender moment. And I think that also, what was I going to say? It was based off what you said. Oh, the level of vulnerability that you're willing to share. Right now, the guru on the mountaintop, like that kind of archetype, is no longer in demand. It's not something that people really want to see. And I think a big part of that is because of social media and reality TV. Like, reality TV created stars out of people who were like airing their dirty laundry out to the world. And people are like, oh my God, these really rich people who have everything also are super messed up and have all these flaws, right? And then you have social media where you're getting access to celebrities, you're getting access to these personal development speakers all the time, like all the time. And so people are now wanting to see real. And so the era of like going to see someone speak on a stage and they just teach and teach and teach, and then you never hear about them before and they're just a persona, I think that's less and less attractive to people who are used to 24/7 access now. And so the more real you are, the more vulnerable you are, you're creating an invitation for people to connect with you on that really deep human level.
Totally. And I think what you shared with the 3-act, what did you call it? The 3-act
structure.
3-act structure gives you kind of a scaffolding for how to do that in a way that's not just like, woe is me, here's all my here's all my dirty laundry, right? Because we've seen that too. It can go on the other side of the extreme. So if you don't have enough vulnerability and realness to connect with people, or if you have too much of it, like, either can be not such a great thing. So we want to kind of stay in the middle. And I think that 3 or 5-act structure that you're talking about when it comes to mastering storytelling on video is a really useful tool. And I want to kind of dial back to that, because what did you call the lost
all is lost
moment?
Yeah.
Are there any other like tips or tricks that you found that have really helped to differentiate you from the pack? Because there's a lot of influencers out there, there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of spoken word artists, there's a lot of actors out in the world, as we know. And is there anything else that you can share like that has helped your video presence, your online presence, kind of get some momentum and separate you from the pack?
Yeah, so I guess I'll tell this little anecdote from my journey sharing, right? When I first started coaching, I had been a coach of some kind for a really long time. So I used to coach wrestling, I used to teach swim lessons, I used to train lifeguards, I used to be a personal trainer. So it was always some form of coaching, generally in a physical capacity. And then my personal training clients kept calling me their life coach. And so it was like right there, hiding in plain sight for a long time. And then I met, Preston and Alexi. Yeah, Preston Smiles, Alexi Pianos. So I met them in the jungles of Costa Rica at an event.
Of course you did, Adam.
Where, by the way, I had to get completely naked in a circle and talk about like my deepest fears and insecurities.
No big deal.
In front of a bunch of strangers.
Conscious content creating. It's
naked in the jungles in Costa Rica. That's what I'm saying. This personal development, like going into myself, has been the focal point, and I'll get to that. But so when I met them, they were the first coaches that I had met who were doing video at like a higher level than just like camera talking straight into it. They actually put some style into their videos, and I appreciated that as a filmmaker.
Wait, for people who are watching this, if you know who Preston Smiles and Alexi Panos are, if you've seen their videos, hit some thumbs up, because I'm curious if you guys know who they are. They're also incredibly good at video storytelling, all the structure, and making viral videos.
And also experience in the entertainment industry.
Totally.
Yeah, Preston was an actor for a long time. So I think that there was a similarity there. And so I respected the fact that they were doing something different. As a filmmaker, I really liked that. But it was also the only, you got some thumbs up, people
Somebody
know.
knows.
And so it was the only thing that I had as an example. And before you begin to find your voice, you start with imitation. And so I was like, okay, let me just do what they're doing. They said, like, you're great on camera, like you're well spoken, like just start putting out video content. And I hadn't been doing it. And so that looked like Azria filming me or having a selfie stick and just like starting to converse with the camera. And then I had this event happen when I was in Bali, where I'm going to really condense this, but if you're super interested, you can find the videos. But I was in a store wanting to buy this bracelet. And
was this before or after you were naked in the jungle?
This was after I was naked in the jungle. This was months later, where I'd been putting out videos, and most of my audience at that time was just simply my immediate group of friends from like high school and college and like that sort of thing. I didn't have an online audience in that way. I don't know why I did this. I've been doing this a lot. And so
none of this is real. It's okay.
None of this is real.
It's all a dream.
This Facebook Live. So anyway, there's this bracelet. It was more expensive than I'd ever spent anything like on myself like that. And I started talking about it on camera. And this was before Facebook Live. So this is where you like record the video and then have to upload it on Bali's whack internet. And so I started getting emotional, talking about the reasons why I didn't essentially feel worthy of spending this money on myself for a bracelet. And then that led into, legitimately, your storage is almost full.
Millennium problems.
that legitimately led into a story arc happening in my real experience about this bracelet, and like my decision making around, should I go back and buy it? Should I, like, what should happen? And I had people from all over the world writing to me, wanting to send me money to help pay for the bracelet.
Wow.
And like, it just blew up into this thing because it was a story. It was almost like watching, like the first video I put out was like 8 minutes, and then a second video I put out was probably 8 minutes, and then Azria had a part in this story that was like 8 minutes, and like you got to see this, and it created a bit of an episodic series almost that people were following along with, that was happening in real time.
Whoa.
And that was what I would say probably at the time probably tripled our audience, was like that story. And because people could relate to it, I was being super vulnerable. I was saying, this is so dumb in many ways. Like it's a bracelet, and I'm getting emotional about it. But it was also so real and vulnerable, and people could understand that, because it doesn't actually matter what it is. Everything outside of us right now is just a neutral event. It's just feedback for what's going on inside of ourselves. And the bracelet was that. And people can relate to that. It doesn't have to be a bracelet. It could be buying organic versus not buying organic, and the feelings that come up about spending that extra money. Like, it can be so many things.
Yeah. How human, y'all.
Well, yeah.
It's so interesting. It's like such a paradox that digital technologies enable us to connect with humans across the globe on such a human level, that you can relate, you can see yourself in another person. And I think when you can master the art of that, as you have clearly, you gain influence, you gain credibility in the field of whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're coaching, you're, performing spoken word. I guess it would be spoken art.
Yeah.
Verbal art. Whatever it is that you're doing, if you can master that art, it sounds like you can really impact not just people in your real IRL is what YouTubers say.
In real life.
In real life, your real life friends.
IRL.
But
okay.
IRL. Yeah,
IRL.
that's internet nerd speak. You can use that.
I used to be a competitive video game player.
Oh, so you should know.
So but like not in a while.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. Different life.
Maybe we'll play Mario Kart after this.
Oh.
Okay. Well, anyway, if you can master the art of storytelling in your videos and really get vulnerable in a productive way where you can have that, what was it called again? The no chance left.
No, all is lost.
All is lost moment.
Your all is lost moment.
And then pivot to and here's why all is not lost. We've done that in some of our videos too. I wanted to share that too. Like, we'll have the sad music. I've noticed you use music a lot in your videos to elicit emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like when you're using the music behind the scenes, half of the video, the first half, and I noticed, Prince EA, right? Mm-hmm. He does this a lot too. One day my sister and I, we broke down and reverse engineered what makes his videos so successful. And it's the music. In the first half, until you reach that all hope is lost moment, the music is sad. It's like eliciting or sad or, inspiring maybe if it's a motivational, whatever. And then there's this specific moment where there's a fade out and then a more inspiring, happy, upbeat, we're going to be okay type of moment.
Yeah, I think that, human beings still want the same stuff that they wanted 1,000 years ago. They want love, they want connection, they want to feel seen, heard. And I believe that video a lot of times has been overlooked in the fact that it can be that. Mm-hmm. It can provide that for people. And if you're providing very human needs with your video, people are going to resonate with it. Mm-hmm. The video that you're talking about, the 300,000 view one, was just a piece of poetry that I performed with there's no stock footage, there's no music to it even. And that thing's been shared 7,500 times just organically because it does that very thing. Mm-hmm. It's telling people they're enough, and it's told in a very human way, and it's just me in pants and a t-shirt just speaking. And I think that the main thing that I would want to get across to anyone who's listening to this, whose desire is to impact through video online, is always think about connecting to the human being on the other side of that. It is such a trap. It is so common for people to get caught up in how to increase views and forget that every one of those views, legitimate views, is somebody who's going through possibly the worst day of their life. It's somebody who may be contemplating suicide. Maybe someone who just lost their mom or their dad. Every single one of those is a human being. And when you approach it from that standpoint, naturally you generate more compassion and empathy in yourself, and that'll translate to the video.
I love that. A lot of people I've noticed in coaching and just working with new influencers who are just stepping into the video platform, it can be very intimidating to sit in front of and stare into the beady little judging eye of the camera, because you forget that. It's easy to forget that there is a person on the other side of all of the content that you put out into the world who is a real person who has feelings, emotions, and wants and desires, love, connection, realness, and wants to really just be seen and heard. So thank you so much for sharing that. Last question that I have for you, Adam, is what do you love about being an influencer?
Oh, what do I love about being an influencer? I would say one of the things that I love most about being an influencer is that I have like tangible examples of how I'm generating impact. Because, you know, when I was an actor, for example, you do a role on like a TV show or something. You just come in, you do a small role on a TV show, and you are hopeful that people will receive you and like be impacted by your performance. That was why I wanted to do it. And yet you don't know. Like, you don't know. There's no feedback mechanism by which the people who watch the show tell you that they were impacted. There's no like buttons and comments and shares. And what I really enjoy now about my podcast, which you're going to be on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to record a podcast right after this. Look out for that. But like the podcast is a great example of that. When I put out a podcast episode, there's no likes and comments the same way that you would in like this Facebook video. And in this Facebook video, there's some immediate, like there's some people participating. And so there's this immediate, oh, like Kyle Lipton's on here. Awesome. Like he's listening. And with the podcast, I have no idea. And so when I get messages, sometimes I'll get an email or something from that saying, hey, this particular episode meant so much, or blah, blah, or I'll meet someone and be like, hey, I found you through your podcast. Or in Australia, I attended the show because of the podcast. That's so awesome because then it's tangible. Like you telling me that you found me through a Facebook video I had no idea. I thought we were connected through the community. So that's like, again, another tangible thing. And so what I love about today's social media influencer kind of tag that I'm now just accepting is those tangible results where I can get messages from people immediately that are saying thank you so much. That means a lot to me because so many people struggle to feel like they're making any sort of difference. And I know people who do incredible work in the world, but there's not like a feedback mechanism that's super immediate or tangible for them to know how big of an impact they're making. And while I don't know the full ripples that go out into the world, I do know that like I am getting a percentage of it, and it's motivating to me. So I really love that from a personal standpoint, and then from more of an external. What I love about influence is like I feel like I am so 100% committed to like my own growth and facing off with my own shadows and like sharing that. And so I feel like what the world wants right now is to do that on a big scale. Like we've literally like elected our shadow to be president of this country. Like he embodies so many things that people are facing off with in themselves. And so I think that for all of you, by the way, this is everyone, I'm not any more special than you. Like if you just are willing to face off with yourself and not do it just behind closed doors, but like let people know that you're in that game, it's going to create the conversations. It's going to create the safe container with which more and more people can do that. And I think that's what's so necessary right now on this planet.
Freaking love it, Adam. Good for you, man. I'm inspired. I'm soups inspired. If anyone else is inspired, hit those likes. Diana says, love the impact you're having. Adam, you're apparently going on her show next week.
I'm going on her show next week.
Rad. You're on a totally like Facebook, digital media show tour.
I was gone for 3 weeks. And so normally I'll do like maybe one of these a week or one every 2 weeks or something. But being gone, I like put them all back to back, which I'm excited about. Diana, I'm looking forward to it.
Doing that social media.
Diana's an awesome. She writes for Huffington Post, actually.
Oh,
She's
rad.
fantastic.
What up, Diana? Okay, cool. So, Adam, where can they find you?
Like I assume you tagged me in this video, so you can click on that page. Like that's the easiest way. AdamRoa.com. And then if you want to listen to my podcast, The Deep Dive with Adam Roa on SoundCloud, iTunes, podcast app, and then Instagram, adam.roa.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, y'all. So that's all I have for you today for today's Magic Monday, the art of storytelling. This is incredibly important if you want to become a better video influencer. check out Adam's stuff. He has great examples of how to effectively tell a story that can communicate with your audience, with the real people behind the camera in an authentic and vulnerable and real way to increase your influence. I was doing so good there.
It was
and then
so good.
So
good thing this is live, so we can just, and then I'm excited to flip this around because we're about to get on this podcast and
check out the podcast.
It's gonna flip it, and I'm gonna ask you a bunch of questions.
Heck yeah, man! I can't wait. Okay, cool, guys. Well, make sure that you get those notifications for next week's Magic Monday. I will see you next Monday at 11 a.m. Bye bye.